terms of damage, you have a lot of damage during cryonics. I mean, there are no studies, there are no published studies, because cryonics is a very fringe practice. I mean, it's not really an established academic scientific approach. So we don't really actually know how much damage occurs in cryonics. There's no, at least there's no published studies. But we can extrapolate, because we can try to cryopreserve organs and see the kind of damage that occurs. And if you're cryopreserving a whole human being or even a whole organ, you have damage. You have damage because sometimes it's not possible to infuse the cryoprotectant across the whole organ, and so you have some ice formation. So you can have ice formation that causes damage. The cryoprotectants themselves, as I said, because it's high concentrations, they cause some damage. So that's toxicity from the cryoprotectants. So you do have ice, you have cryoprotectant toxicity at very low temperatures as well. Sometimes in organs you can have fractures because of differences in temperature. So we know that there is substantial damage even in organs, and presumably in cryonics, there's going to be a lot of damage as well. There's going to be cellular, molecular, even organ level damage. Now you ask, okay, but can we repair it? I mean, that's the hypothesis of the people who sign up for cryonics. So the hypothesis is that, in the future, 500 years from now, maybe, we don't know, but there's going to be technologies that are not available today. I mean, 200 years ago, we didn't have airplanes or mobile phones or the ability to talk on Zoom from someone in China, someone in the UK. So there has been huge technological advances in the past 100 years, right? So the hypothesis is that, okay, 500 years from now, God knows what's going to be possible. It might be possible to repair damage that today we have no idea how to repair it. And so people speculate that technologies like nanotechnology will allow repair of damage, including molecular and cellular damage to organs and patients cryopreserved, that is not possible today. Now, of course, we don't know what's going to be possible or impossible in the future, but that is the argument for trying cryonics, because you have nothing to lose, and if the technology advances sufficiently in the future, and presumably, by then aging will be cured, so you won't have aging or diseases, and it will also be possible to repair the bodies of those that are being cryopreserved now.
Then I'm curious about that. Will the patients still have their memories intact when they're awake?
So that's a very good question. I mean, it is speculation at this point. I mean, what we do know about memories is that, first of all, there's short-term and long-term memory. So we do have some evidence, or we do have some data from people who suffer accidents, for example, traumatic accidents. So quite frequently they lose short-term memories. So they don't remember the accident, or they don't remember what happened that day, or so that's quite frequent in terms of individuals who suffer accidents. So it is tempting to speculate, and of course this is all speculation, that if someone were to be revived in the future, they would at least have short-term memory loss. So the memory of what happened when they died wouldn't be there. In terms of long-term memories, memories of your childhood, for example, memories, we don't know. That's, I think, what the advocates of cryonics would argue is that if technology advances sufficiently in the future to repair the damage you see from cryoprotectants, from ice formation, and so on, then you would be able to at least preserve long-term memories. So, he would know your name, he would know, where you were born, and so on. So you would have your memories from except the short-term memory. So you wouldn't have memories of what happened the day you died, or maybe I say a day, maybe a week you died, but you'd have memories and you know who you were, and you would have your personality, and you'd have your emotions, and you'd have what makes you you. So that's the hypothesis. But of course we don't know. It is possible as well that, at least for some individuals, the amount of damage that they've endured during the cryopreservation process is so big that, it's not, either not viable to revive them, or they will have, a lot of memory loss and a lot of personality loss. So I think at the moment it's still speculation exactly what may happen. But I would say there is a possibility that individuals will be revived, and at least their long-term memories will be preserved.
I'm quite agree with you on that, since that there are many of our followers are discussing about this technology, and they say if people have no memory at all, no matter it's a short-term memory or long-term memory, will he still be himself? Well, it's up to a philosophical question.
Yes. No, absolutely. And that's that's what we want to preserve. So we want to at least preserve long-term memories and elements of the personality of the individual, their moral values, their their motivations, what makes you you. So I think most people would be okay with a loss of short-term memories. I think, as I said, that happens already in people undergo accidents and so on. But it's the long-term memories and the part of your personality about who you are as a person, of your consciousness, that you want to preserve.
Then in your hope or in your speculation, what are the chances of actually being revived successfully from the cryonics for the patients? Or are the possibility?
No, that's a great question, and that's a question a lot of people discuss. I think it's quite low, actually. I think the possibilities are low. The chances are low. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. So it's a possibility to go right, but there's a lot of things that can go wrong. We can have a nuclear war tomorrow and we all die, right? So, that is a possibility. So maybe technology doesn't advance sufficiently. Maybe there's some intrinsic damage to at least some patients, because there's also different levels of quality in terms of cryopreservation. So, I think some patients have so much ice formation and damage that it will be difficult, even with, amazing future technologies to revive them. So I would say the chances are low. Less than 50%. The point is that, even if the chances are low, if you have a cancer, for example, and someone tells you, look, I have a treatment that has a 10% chance of working for your cancer. 90% of the cases you're going to die, but there's a 10% chance it's going to work. You take it, right? You go, okay, well, it's 10%, it's better than nothing. I'll take it. So that's the argument as well. Now, some people, I think some cryonics advocates say that the chances are higher, maybe 50%. I don't agree with that. I think the chances are quite low. But even if the chances are low, even if it's 1%, again, if you have the resources, and cryonics is expensive, so if you take that chance to just like if you had a cancer and you had a treatment with 10% chance of working, you would take it. so that's the argument.
Even though hope is frail, it's still worth our efforts, right?
Yes, exactly. You try. You try to do what's, even if it's a low chance of success, you aim for the best outcome. That's what you have to do. And like I said, if you have a terminal condition, but you have a small chance of a treatment, of a cure, you take it. That's what you do. So cryonics is not very different from that regard, which is, I would say it's a low chance of success, but there's a high reward, because if it works, you're not going to die. You're going to see the future. I'm personally fascinated about the future. I love to see how the world looks like 500 years from now or 1,000 years from now. So I'm quite fascinated by it. And I'm quite frustrated at how short human lifetime span is. And that's why I work on aging, because I would like to extend the human lifespan, because I think it's frustratingly short, the human lifespan. So that's the gamble of cryonics, so to speak, is that
Yeah.
yes, there's a low chance of success, but that has a huge potential payoff.